Okay, so I would like to discuss some polling with you. This is from NBC News. The title of the article is the following: Downhill, divisive, Americans sour on nation's direction in new NBC News poll. So I just kind of want to skip around throughout this article and highlight some important things that I thought were very vital that I want to discuss that'll really affect the direction of this country going forward, I feel. So the article goes as follows: Overwhelming majorities of Americans believe the country is headed in the wrong direction, that their household income is falling behind the cost of living, that political polarization will only continue, and that there's a real threat to democracy and majority rule. What's more, the nation's top politicians and political parties are more unpopular than popular, and interest in the upcoming November elections is down, not up. And when Americans were asked to describe where they believe the country is today, the top answers were downhill, divisive, negative, struggling, lost, and bad. There are the grim findings of a new national NBC News poll conducted less than 10 months before the midterm elections, when control of the U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and governors' mansions across the country will be up for grabs. Downhill, divided, doubting democracy, falling behind, and turning out. This is how Americans are feeling as they're heading into 2022, said Democratic pollster Jeff Horwitz of Hart Research Associates, who conducted this survey with Republican pollster Bill McInturff of Public Opinion Strategies. That pessimism and gloom isn't helping the party in control of the White House and Congress. While the poll shows Democrats enjoying a narrowly 1-point advantage over Republicans as the party that should control Congress, it shows President Joe Biden's approval rating remaining in the low 40s. Republicans hold a double-digit edge in enthusiasm, and key Democratic groups losing interest in the upcoming election. There is nothing but flashing red lights and warning sign for Democrats, said McInturff, the Republican pollster. 72% of Americans say the country is headed in the wrong direction. And this is I just want to give you several more facts here. So 61% of respondents to this poll say that their family's income is falling behind the cost of living. Wow. 61%. 30% say they are staying about even. And the remaining say that, and how much is that? Like, what, 9% at that point say that it's going up faster. That's quite outstanding. 70% agree with the statement that America has become so polarized that it can no longer solve the major issues facing the country, and that those differences will only continue to grow. That's what I kind of want to focus on most. But 50% answer that America will always come together in tough times in 2010. So it kind of shows you how much that just got exacerbated. Do you believe American democracy is threatened? 76%, 7 in 10 Americans say that there is a threat to democracy and majority rule in this country. And so I just also want to give you the top issues facing the country. So Americans were jobs and the economy, a combined 42%, the coronavirus, 29%, voting rights and election integrity, 25%, the cost of living, 22%, and border security and immigration, 22%. And it also divulges into the approval ratings of popular politicians. They're not popular at all, but Liz Cheney, 23% positive, Joe Biden, 39% positive. His lowest was 33. I made a video on that relatively recently. The Republican Party, 34% positive. The Democratic Party, 32% positive. So nobody likes our politicians. Nobody likes the political parties. Nobody likes Congress. And there's this bleak outlook on the country right now. Now, they say that 70% say that the nation can't come together. 70% answer no to the question, can the nation come together to solve the issues that we're facing? And that's incredible because essentially what's happened, and you can't blame people for it, they've essentially bought into the propaganda that they've been sold by mainstream media. You know, that your enemy is your neighbor and that your enemy is the opposite political party, and that, it's going to be divisive and polarized forever. But in fact, when you look at the polls and what Americans think about issues, they're largely united, whether it be on healthcare, the fact that it should be universal and for everyone from the moment you're born to the moment you die, whether it's on the fact that college should be free, education should be free, you shouldn't go into crippling debt for trying to further your education and expand upon your possibilities, the fact that something like weed should be legal, the fact that we shouldn't be fighting these wars and staging these endless occupations around the country, And the fact that the majority of Americans, the fact that unionization in this country is at an all-time low, I believe it's at 10.8%, but the majority of Americans support unions, and they support joining unions, and they support being able to join unions. I mean, when you really look at it, we're not as polarized as you think on the issues. Now, culturally speaking, that may be a different story, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, on the really, really important stuff, Americans are pretty much in lockstep with each other. But they've been so thoroughly propagandized and fooled into thinking that, oh no, we can never come together. And so this ire, this anger, this frustration, it gets redirected at each other rather than the people that are causing the pain, i.e., the billionaires, i.e., the owner class, i.e., the people that have fought against every single piece of progressive legislation that has ever been introduced in the history of this nation, of the world. I mean, it's always been the owner class that have fought back against the mass of people, against the working class, to ensure their own longevity and their profits and their wealth, okay, and the kingdom that they've amassed. And once we realize that that's the problem, that they're the enemy, that we all share a common foe, then we can actually at least take the steps to undoing what has been done to us and changing this system that so often promotes the success of the minority and not the majority. The fact that just a handful of people hold so much wealth and the rest of us are meant to share the meager amounts that they leave in the wake for us. The fact that millions of Americans are quitting their job every month at record numbers, thinking that they can go into a better situation, not realizing that their next employer is going to be much of the same than their previous employer, and that this is a system that we're facing that's causing us this great turmoil. But anyway, those are just some polling numbers that I wanted to go over and share very briefly and give my opinion on the quote-unquote polarization that the country is facing. But the quicker we realize that we have a common enemy, the better.